You know, I'm at the hospital right now visiting someone very, very close to me. That's a legend. Legend. I mean, legend. And this uh, person is so huge to a point he's impacted generations, various generations who would never forget, all of the things that he provided, for his community, for his family, and just even for a whole state. I mean, this how much he contributed in his lifetime, and he's still here with us, and I hope he'll be with us a lot longer. But kind of having a rough time right now, and I'm praying for him, and I'm just happy to be here to hold his hand here and there, and definitely love him. Thing is, it makes you realize, it makes me wonder. I'm worried, right? I'm worried. I want the world to remember him forever. You know what I mean? And that's a, kind of a loose term, forever. But when his name is mentioned, people, oh man, you know what I mean? And some of the business he had was very impactful, and just some of his ideas that he came up with, things of that nature, And I remember there was a time that he could have took his business elsewhere. He could have went and made a lot more money. But I remember him telling me, he said, no, this community needs this, and I'm not going to take it from them. I'm going to make sure that I continue to provide it for them. And that's exactly what he did, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm worried that in time, that if something was to, happen, that, I don't want to never be forgotten, you know what I mean? And it make me realize, what matters in this life, what matters in this life, and the things that we do in this life, And it might seem like what we're doing each day when you go to work doesn't matter, but it does. It does. Someone whose application you approved will never forget you, change their life. Someone who even the garbage collector, hey, it matters. Everything matters. But what just overall, it does make me wonder what matters in this world. What are the things that really are tangible? And I guess for me, what I've learned, what I'm learning from this experience, and my great desire for the best for him is that I want to make sure I do more. I'm not talking about that we have to go out and always, pitch a tent and go out here and do everything for, community and charities and all these different things that, a lot of times we're, hey, they see me, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm not talking about necessarily on that level. What I'm saying is just in general, are we happy? Are we happy? And are we doing things that makes us happy? That's the one thing I can say. He did things that made him happy. He did things that gave him joy. And, and I hope that he had, and even here recently, someone recognized his work. Someone that's right now a famous celebrity recognized his work, ran across it, and, and they're using some of his work with his approval. And obviously, all the luxuries that come with that, and it's like what we do in this life matters. It matters. It might not seem like it right now. It might seem very trivial, right? But everything adds up in the long run. And what are the things that really count the most are the things that mean the most to us. And if it's family, okay, hey, there it is. I have family members that have never left, never left their region, their area, their whole lives. their whole lives. But they're happy, they're content because family was the thing that meant the most to them. So they didn't have to go anywhere for that. They didn't have to go anywhere for that, you know. But if your desire is to, you know, own a skyscraper one day or something to that effect, do it. You know, we only got this one life. I keep coming back to that. We only have this one life, and what we do with it makes all the difference in the world. And if all we have is just a bunch of regrets, you know, how tragic is that, you know? Now, there are some regrets that could be good regrets. Ones you went out there and made an effort, you did all you can do, and you tried your best to make something happen, and it may have fallen short. It's a good regret to me. It's a good regret. You know, you didn't leave it on the table. You know what I mean? And are we leaving things on the table? Are we leaving things on the table and then look back and, man, I wish I had done this, wish I had done that? Tell you a story. I sometimes forget about it, but every blue moon, I ran into somebody that recently that made me remember it. I forgot about it, right? So, I'm a ball player, and not that bad. And that's not me tooting my own horn. It's just something because I really devoted myself to it. You know what I mean? And even, you know, and I'm talking about even to this day, it's my thing, ball player. So, basketball. So the thing is that during the period of time when I went to junior high, me and fellas, you know, from the neighborhood and all that, we used to play in the morning times before, you know, classes. And we'd do this every morning. It was a big deal. I mean, they let us have a whole run of the gym. Everybody in there eating their little breakfasts or whatever. And it was a big deal, you know what I mean? Showtime. And the thing is that I decided I'm going to go out for the team. Thing is, I didn't know what something as simple as a figure eight was. We're talking about organized basketball. It's different than just playing, you know, recreational. So I didn't know what a figure eight was. So Coach told us run a figure eight. I didn't know what it was. Everybody was getting upset with me. It probably was comedy hour if you really look back at it. But the thing is that, you know, I was trying. I was giving them all. But obviously I didn't make the team. And mainly because of that, of course. But this is the thing. I matured. I grew from that experience, right? So I get to high school, I got another chance. This school was one of those schools that made college, you know, athletes pros, and had outside I'm gonna go out for the team. But what happened? I let someone remind me. They didn't know about my previous experience, but they was, you know, had the jokes and all this thing and the other because, you know, at the time I never put out there that I was a ball player. You know, I was living a different type of life, and so that made me second guess myself. And so I never went out for the team. And it's one of the biggest regrets I have today. Because, again, you'll have to understand, you know, me and basketball. And so, who knows? My life definitely, more than likely, will went a different direction. So, based off that, I get to college. This time I go out for the team again and make the team. And what happens? I ended up dropping out of school. Coach said, I'm going to come back next season. You're on the team. Come on back, report next season. What happens? I drop out of school and get married. We all have kids and whatnot. Now, put that aside, because that's you know, that's just a fact of life, right? But had out of that next year, someone I knew who was not even a ball player would join the team and go on, and now they're in the Hall of Fame. And we would have been playing side by side. And that's what I'm saying, you know, things the thoughts you have and ideas you have, and you don't follow up on them, and you don't follow up on them. You know what matters? What matters? You know what I mean? And now, at this point in time, for me, I'm in my own world of building my own Hall of Fame. You know, and I'm more than stay motivated, stay pumped, and I'm always, you know, seeking to make things happen. And it's not based off past things. It's based off just who I am as a person. I found out who I was. I learned more about myself, and I learned to, you know, if I'm gonna have regrets, create some new regrets, and make sure they be positive regrets, and make sure they're ones that's me trying to accomplish something beautiful. You know what I mean? And that's what it really comes down to, making this life beautiful. Every day, every day I wake up, my goal is to have a beautiful day. Not just a day, a beautiful day. Set important. Set important. So I'm wishing the best, you know, for the legend. And at the same time, I want to be a legend of my own. Be a legend of my own. And you could be a legend of your own too. And you don't have to be one that ends up, you know, being reported on. You know what I mean? You don't have to have your name and lights and things of that nature. You know, I would say this. If you were a single parent, for instance, and you did something to impress, you know, your kid or children or whatever, then to me, you're in the Hall of Fame. You're in the Hall of Fame. So that Hall of Fame comes in many, many areas. But you just have to determine in this life what matters to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll let you later.